Enforcement of Values Profession and related with the Enforcement of Valuers, Appraisers, Estate Agents, and Property Managers Act 1951. For the profession history, it happens during three different eras, which is before colonial, during colonial, and after colonial. Before colonial happens during Malay Sultan and Malacca era, and also during the Dutch and Portuguese colonial era. While during colonial started when British came to Tanah Melayu on 1786. Lastly is the after colonial era, where it happens after the independence year. For the before colonial era, it happens on Malay Sultan and Malacca era, where Sultan is the highest ruler that appoint bendahara to collect the revenue. Therefore, the profession will rate the assessment rate, and it is based on Islamic system. Secondly is during the Dutch and Portuguese era. However, they only focus on dominance of trade. Continue with the during colonial era, where it started when British came to Tanah Melayu on 1786. On 1790, British had introduced valuation by assessment rate in Bandar Georgetown. Along with it, British had established a municipal management board called a sanitary board. However, due to financial problem, British had to borrow valuers from London. Starting from 1819 to 1914, all states in Tanah Melayu was colonized, as Johor was the last state to be colonized. On 1907, Appraisers Act memo was introduced, and it is widely used on 1933. The class of the appraisers was distinguished into two classes, which is the first class and second class. The Act itself gave the appraiser authority to value any land situated, and according to the state only, which means the appraisers had limited value and land to be valued. The license was given by the State Secretariat to ex-public servants, and the license must state the class and the description of the property desired by the applicant. On 1920, the British set up a branch of Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyor (RICS) in Malaya, where during that moment, the profession was known as General Practice Surveyor. On 1954, Sir C.C. Hipgrave was appointed as an officer in the Inland Revenue Department, while on 1955, Sir A.A. Wright started his service at Ministry of Local Government, Housing and Urban Planning. He also recommended to construct a valuation department that consists of qualified and trained valuers. 2 months before the Independence Month, which is the 1st June 1957, National Treasury Division, or now known as Valuation and Property Service Department of Malaysia, has been established. There are acts that had been created during that moment that was used to assist the government in relating issue while quoting the jump specified by the valuer's nature of work. Among the acts that had been established are such as Enactment Duty Harta Pusaka 1941, Ordinance Duty Stamp, which is now known as Stamp Duty Act 1941, Enactment Pengambilan Tanah 1960, which is now known as Land Acquisition Act 1960, Real Property Gain Tax 1979, the fifth one is Surveyor Act 1967, and lastly is the Valuer, Appraiser and Estate Agent Act 1981, which is now known as Valuers, Appraisers, Estate Agents and Property Managers Act 1981. And last but not least is the after colonial era, where actually on 1950s, RICS provided basic training for valuation profession, and 10 government servants were sent to UK for training, as recommended by Sir A.A. Wright when he started his service at the Ministry on 1955. On 1961, RICS changed its name to the Institution of Surveyors (ISM). On 1973, Surveyors Act 1967 was enforced, and it is created due to the flaws on the current acts and enactment. And lastly is on 1981, where the previous department that was monitored by Sir A.A. Wright, now known as Jabatan Penilaian dan Pentadbiran Harta (JPTH). This is also the year where the Valuers, Appraisers and Estate Agents Act 1981 was enforced. Nowadays, the Act is known as Valuers, Appraisers, Estate Agents and Property Managers Act 1981. It is used to monitor the profession and overcome any issues that arise in the profession, such as the registration of valuers, registration of property managers, and also the problem of illegal brokers that caused the estate agent conduct to be inserted in the year of 1985.
What is mutatis mutandis? From the Cambridge Dictionary, mutatis mutandis will change necessary according to the situation and used to comparing two or more things. The different situation we make different change. Mutatis mutandis also commonly used in law compared to other fields. Okay, for the example, a tenancy renewal between a tenant and landlord.
Okay, for the fourth questions, briefly differentiates following. First, registered valuer and registered appraisal. Second, probationary valuer and registered valuer. Third, broker and registered estate agent. Fourth, estate agents and real estate negotiator. Okay, first question, we will jump to the registered valuer and registered appraiser, which have 5 items. Definitions, TPC, existence, restriction, and also power. Okay, first we will talk about registered valuer. Okay, registered valuer is someone who assess the monetary worth of possessions. Registered valuer can call himself as a valuer, land economist, property consultant, and also property manager. Remember that registered valuer need to take TPC, and there's no limitations on value. But the existence of registered valuer is after independence, and he have a power in practice valuation and also property management. Okay, for the seconds, we will talk about registered appraiser. Okay, appraisers are registered under parts of B of the X because of their long experience and early registrations under the various of appraisal X. Okay, but does not need to take any TPC, restrict in practice by geographical area on value, and the existence of it is before independence, but they have a power of can carry out the practice of valuations, property management, also property value, and also property consultants. So the second question is about probationary valuer and registered valuer, which has a 5 items also, definitions, restrictions, logbook, TPC, and also the power. Okay, first we will talk about probationary valuer, which is person who is registered under this act as a probationary valuer under section 17A of the act, and whose name has been placed in the register of probationers and is employed or engaged by an estate agent to assist the estate agents in the estate agency practice. And the restriction is not qualified to sign any valuation reports, and logbook need to fill in 2 years consisting of experience. The power of it is holder of power of attorney in respect of any land. Okay, we jump to registered valuer. Registered valuer is someone who assess the monetary worth of possessions. That is, valuer can call himself as a valuer, land economist, property manager, and property consultancy, which don't have any qualifications to sign any report valuations, and don't have any related to the logbook, and have a power of practice valuation and property management. Okay, for the third questions, we will talk about broker and registered estate agent. Okay, there are definitions, qualification, firm, TPC, and registrations. Okay, first, broker. Person who buy and sells goods or assets for others. A broker, on the other hand, on a brokerage and employee at a real estate agents. Okay, for the qualifications, again, experience as real estate sales agent must first hold a valid real estate agent license and work under that license for a number of years. Brokers must spend 1 to 3 years working as real estate sales agents before they can apply for license. Okay, first, cannot open due to unregistered by the board, but the TPC does not take any, and the restrictions of this is the lender approve the homeowners request to sell their property at any amounts below what is owed to the lender. Okay, we will jump to the registered estate agent. Person whose name has been entered into part 3 of the registers and to whom an authority to practice has been issued by the board under section 16. Only those who are registered under the board can act as estate agents. And the qualification is be at least 18 or 19 years old, depend on the estates. have legal US residency, complete your required pre-license educations, or pass your state's real estate license examinations. The firm can be opened by rules and regulations. And the TPC registered under boards and approved to conduct estate agency after passing TPC. And the power is cannot practice as property manager. Okay, the last question we will talk about registered estate agents and estate agent negotiator. Okay, registered estate agent is persons who has been entered into part 3 of registers and to whom an authority to practice has been issued by the board under section 16. Only those who are registered under the boards can act as estate agents. And the TPC was passed, but still can open the agency firms. But there has a restrictions that cannot practice as property manager, but have a power can sign any agreements in related matter. Okay, real estate negotiator, person who is employed or engaged by estate agents to assist him or her in the estate agency practice. A negotiator shall include real estate negotiators. There is RES and professionals who shall always be under the immediate directions and supervisions of estate agents. They are not registered with the board but certified to practice. The TPC has passed, not passed yet, but has a knowledgeable and have the necessary skills and temperaments to represent all parties to a transactions in a professional manner, but don't have any powers to sign any contract agreements and need REA to do that. Okay, thank you.
Professional indemnity insurance is the insurance that also referred as professional liability insurance that cover all the legal costs, the costs that incur in defenses, the damages, and all the costs that may be awarded. Next is why professional indemnity insurance is important. Firstly, is about regulation and legal requirement. For your information, professions such as surveyor, valuer, and estate agent are highly regulated under local authority. So the profession are legally required to have professional indemnity insurance so that the insurance will cover their profession. Next is reputation protection. Reputation is an important thing for a professional profession to have, and to maintain the reputation is such a critical situation. Lastly is financial protection. A single claim can ruin a business, since litigation can be expensive, time-consuming, and resource-consuming. Professional indemnity insurance cover, firstly is professional negligence, second is loss of document data, third is unintentional of breach of copyright, fourth is defamation and libel, and lastly is loss of good and money. Firstly is negligence. For example, a valuer failed to carry out an inadequate inspection of a property and observe a material defect in the property. Next is defamations. Defamation covers any actual or alleged libel or slander committed without malice by reason of words written, spoken, or broadcast in the course of providing professional service. For example, the letting agent may have said the home came with a parking space when none was available, or that the plot the property stand on was larger than indicated on the title. Lastly is difference of cost. It will cover reasonable fees, costs, and expenses incurred by or on behalf of the insured in the investigation, defense, adjustment, settlement, or appeal of any claim.
This is type of business that have professional indemnity insurance. First is management and business consultant, second IT professional, third technical and engineer contractor, fourth recruitment agencies and consultant, fifth fitness professional, sixth designer, and seven teachers and tutor. Next question is 6.0 List of Amendment of Law of Malaysia Act 242, Sister Year 1989. There are 4 years of amendment of Value Appraiser, Estate Agent and Property Manager Act 1981, which is in 1997, 1999, 2011 and 2017. Valuer, Appraiser and Estate Agent Amendment Act 1997. Qualification for registration of value and probat valuer. Section 18, subsection 1. Subject to the provision of this Act, no person shall be entitled to have his name entered under Part 1 of the register unless he has been registered as probat valuer under this Act. Act 980. Valuer, Appraiser and Estate Agent Amendment Act 1999. Access to land, building and others. Section 5, subsection 1. The Director General or any officer authorised by him may A. When reasonably necessary for the purposes of carrying out the Director General function under this Act, enter at all reasonable hours into and upon any land, building or premises and inspect the same without liability for trespass submission of relevant information. Section 6, subsection 1. The Director General may require the submission to him by any person of any relevant information necessary for the carrying out of his function under this Act on a form within a stated period, such form and period to be prescribed by the Minister. Act 1056. Next is Value Appraiser and Estate Agent Amendment Act 2011. Federal Government Gazette. The Value Appraiser and Estate Agent Amendment Act 2017. Amendment Act, which is intended to amend the Value Appraiser and Estate Agent Act 1981. Act 1404. Last is Value Appraiser and Estate Agent Amendment Act 2017. The primary purpose of the amendment to Act 242 is to ensure that property managers that are entrusted with the management of properties worth millions of ringgit are regulated by a professional body and to safeguard the public from unscrupulous and illegal property manager. The Malaysia Reserve 2017. Act A1550.